It was a Tuesday. I know it was a Tuesday because I remember exactly what I was wearing. I remember the drive. I remember the waiting room. I remember the way the chair felt underneath me when I sat down, and the moment I realized I was about to need it. Some days you wake up as one version of yourself, and you go to sleep as someone completely different. That was one of those days. To understand what happened that Tuesday, I have to take you back a little further. Back to 2004. I was pregnant with our first daughter. Greg started having some discomfort, some symptoms that concerned us enough to go see a doctor. The doctor told him it was probably hemorrhoids. No test, no follow-up ordered. You're young, you're healthy. Come back if it keeps happening. But it didn't keep happening. The symptoms went away, and life moved on. That's the thing about life. It has a way of moving on whether you're ready or not. 5 years later, Greg was on the floor playing with the kids the way he always did, fully in it, fully present, and one of them fell on his stomach, and he grabbed it immediately and yelled out. And we both looked at each other with the same expression. Something's not right here. But here is what you have to understand about where we were in life at that very moment. Greg was working 2 jobs. He worked full-time at his very humble law firm during the day, and then he came home at night long enough to take a nap, change his clothes, and turn right back around to go serve as a U.S. magistrate court judge here in Atlanta. Midnight to 7, those were his hours. He was doing that because the financial market had crashed and my law firm had let go of most of the attorneys on my commercial real estate team, but I was lucky enough to keep my job, but only part-time. We were doing what you do when your back is against the wall. You work, you figure it out, you keep going. But that schedule, that relentless around-the-clock schedule, it had taken a toll on Greg's body. He barely had time to sleep, let alone see a doctor. And honestly, we had both gotten caught up in the blur of it all. Working, raising children, paying bills, showing up. The days had a way of folding into each other until you couldn't quite tell where one ended and the next one began. Life was full. That's the only way I know how to describe it. Life was just full. And we were both moving too fast to stop and really look at what was happening right in front of us. When Greg was still in pain after that day on the floor, we called in a favor. A physician friend agreed to meet us at his office on a weekend to examine him. His blood work came back clear. His routine exam, clear. But Greg was still hurting. He had a CT scan then. That came back clear too. But still, something was wrong and we both knew it. You know your person. You know when something is off. And we needed answers. So Greg scheduled a colonoscopy that Tuesday. I still remember that day. We dropped the kids at daycare. We drove 45 minutes south of Atlanta to a gastroenterologist. It was a quiet drive. The kind of quiet that isn't really peaceful. It's the kind where both of you are thinking things you haven't said out loud yet. When Greg's procedure was done and the anesthesia wore off, I helped him get dressed, and then the doctor came in. He asked to speak with us, and then he walked us to a back room. I knew. The moment he said back room, something in me knew. You don't take people to a back room to give them good news. You take them somewhere quiet because what you're about to say is going to require walls around it. I was scared. I didn't say a word. I remember staring at the floor. Greg, and this was so Greg, he looked at the doctor and said, "Just give it to me straight, doc." Even then, even in that moment, he was trying to take care of everyone else in that room. The doctor told us he hadn't been able to complete the colonoscopy. He couldn't get the scope through the entirety of Greg's colon because there was a tumor blocking the way. He said it was considerable. He said based on the size and the color, it had probably been there for a while. And then he said the word, cancerous. A bomb exploded inside my heart. Cancer? I felt the entire room tilt. I couldn't think, I couldn't speak. I don't even know if I was breathing. And Greg, my Greg, looked at me and pulled me into his arms and told me everything was gonna be okay. He always said that. Everything's gonna be okay, sugar. But I wasn't so sure this time. So this is something I want you to carry with you. Some of you know exactly what it feels like to be walked to a back room. Maybe it wasn't a doctor's office. Maybe it was a phone call you didn't expect. A conversation that started with, "We need to talk." A moment that split your life clearly into before and after. If you know that feeling, I see you. I've been in that room, and I want you to know that even in the moments that feel like the end of everything, they are not the end. They are the beginning of something maybe you didn't ask for, but they are not the end. You may feel like you were broken. Maybe you have been broken, but you will not stay broken. You are still here. And the fact that you are still here means your story is not finished. Keep walking forward. I'll be right here walking with you. I'm Nadine, and this is Widowed, Not Broken.